we know it does, but what can we do to make that gulf closer, and really think about how the economy can fit into this?
Well, that's a huge question. I mean, obviously, most the people who are negatively impacted by the criminal justice system are either people of color or are low-income people, and so there's a big challenge before us in terms of how we invest in, I guess I would say, two things. I mean, one is, are we making the proper investments in communities, and do we see the pathway towards productive communities where people feel safe, where families operate in a nurturing environment? Do we see that pathway through an approach that we've taken for the past few decades, which is largely focused on, some degree of zero tolerance and punitiveness? Or do we think that the approach is one where you're investing in economic development and schools and services that expand opportunities? And I think that the answer is logically obvious. And the second thing that I would say is that we have to, part of the problem is that we have to really disentangle the economic incentives that currently exist in the system and that sort of perpetuate what we have right now. People often talk about private prisons as being, a concern, but there are a lot of economic interests that exist to maintain the system as it is, not just private prisons, but similarly struggling communities in rural parts of states where there are no jobs, and they've relied upon prisons to be the primary source of jobs and employment and all the satellite services. As we've seen in Ferguson, and we see in New Orleans, and see in lots of other places, as justice systems have been starved from tax support, they have turned to taxing the poor to support what they do. And so you see fees and fines as a way to support the continued operations of justice systems. So that's another aspect of this problem that is largely economic. It is structural, and we'll have to attack that as well.